This hour we're talking about censored creativity, political messaging ban. We've seen the government go in on this and saying that if you are in high school, drama, music, and you're coming in political messaging, is a vitu utafanya hapa and utafanyia huko nje. We are here to have this discussion, especially in a country where we say we want to promote creative economy. How are we doing that if on the other hand, we are stifling these talents from growing? To have this conversation with us is Karumba Ngatia.
Someone you all know but you don't know.
Who is Karumba Ngatia? Who is Karumba Ngatia? Karumba Ngatia is a dad, is a DJ, and a creative. Yes, so that's what I do.
Yes. Happy to see you, man.
Thank you for having me over. Yes.
Yeah.
I thought you would begin with the DJ Karumba, aka that's a good one. Yeah. That's professionalism.
Now, Karumba Ngatia.
Those are years
AKA
on radio.
DJ
Karumba. Yes.
You know, having amazing things you've done, man. You have to give you your flowers.
Thank you.
We have to give you your flowers. You know. It has to be said. It has to be said.
Scratch.
Yeah.
To rook your pali.
Yeah, but now I'll just say Kroba. Right?
Yes.
I'll just
yes.
Kroba.
Yeah. Use Kroba. Yeah.
Kroba.
Yeah.
So Kroba, we every week we go to a different country.
Yes.
In one way or the other, we come back with their proverbs. Today we didn't go far. We took a bus, went to Congo. So in Congo, a beautiful country, one must say.
Yes.
Their music, chef's kiss. You look at the resources that they do have,
Yeah.
are giant, not only just in the continent, but across the world.
Yes.
You know, we talk about Tesla, right? They depend on cobalt that is coming from Congo. We
Yes.
talk about the Chinese EV industry, talk about solar panels and the batteries that are there, lithium ion, all that go back to Congo.
Yes.
But unfortunately, it is not helping the country grow to be the giant it is because of war,
Yes.
bad leadership. And one would ask the question, as a continent that is grappling right now on matter to do with fuel, and Congo has reserves that have not even been explored yet. What are we doing to ensure that it grows, that it is independent of donor support? Because I say Congo has donated so much to the world. It is the number one donor
Congo
of
should
the world.
be a super country.
Super country, right? But that notwithstanding, we got to the proverb. You don't teach the paths of the forest to an old gorilla. You do not teach the paths of the forest to an old gorilla. How would you interpret it?
The gorilla has been there for a while. So the gorilla, high chance, knows this forest really well. And because the gorilla knows the forest really well, it becomes very difficult for you to teach it about parts of the forest because it's experienced the forest. Yeah, that is what would cross my mind. If I've been in a certain area for so many years, there might be new things for me to learn.
Yeah.
But the difficultness of being in that area might make me not that malleable to new information.
Yeah.
And so someone might have something to tell me about a certain thing I've been doing for many years, but they go like, but this guy's been doing this for so many years. Will he really hear me?
Yeah.
And so that's how I interpret it.
You know, it's I would just say it's very difficult to tell DJ Kroba how to mix. You will come with a new system with the new decks, but how to spin, DJ Kroba knows how to do it.
But and it's good you brought that example up. The more I've mentored over the years, there's a place you get in your mentorship, and you have to be open for something we call reverse mentorship.
Yes.
That the people you've raised, they will come and tell you, hey, sasa, wacha nikushow venye vitu zimechange hapa.
Yes.
If I am not open for that, I can't even grow myself.
Exactly.
Okay, I can't. And I need to be open that a young person can tell me something and flip my life.
Yes.
For the rest of my life. But if I'm too rigid, I might miss it. So it's always good for us to be open for reverse mentorship.
Yes.
For the people you've mentored yourself, they might just come back and tell you,
That's quite
something.
powerful, actually.
Yeah.
Because even in mixing these days, one of the popular things I see, is the issue of the samples, where a DJ takes you back. This sample was used to make this song, and there is a certain
storytelling
in mixing, and
very nice.
just not transitioning from song to song.
Yeah.
So it's really changing. That's amazing.
yeah.
Reverse mentorship is the
Reverse
one.
mentorship is the one.
And I think when you talk about, because we've just jumped into the conversation not knowing, and this is a country where we find ourselves today. We're saying that with CBE coming in, extracurricular activities have actually become co-curricular activities.
Yes.
Because you look at the pathways that children are picking nowadays. There are those who choose to go creative. That is what I want to be.
Yes.
But you look at the drama festival that is going right now, and we read these from last year when which school was that? It was Butere?
Yes, Butere Girls.
Butere Girls,
Yes.
and there are echoes of war.
Echoes of
drama
war, yes.
That was actually banned, And in this year, there's also been communication from the Ministry of Education that any presentation that has political connotations would not be allowed to be there. But then again, we would ask the question, are we helping these children to grow now that what it is they love has become core, or are we killing their dreams at that young age?
The government not approving this place is more of a dissent in communication.
Yeah.
They want to dissent a certain rise of a certain perspective that they do not want to approve.
Yeah.
And the goal here is, sometimes the good way to do this is by law, but sometimes fear works better. I don't know whether this is making sense.
Yeah.
Like when other schools go like, hey, mliona venye Butere Girls ilifanyiwa. Umeniket? So by just the government doubling down on Butere Girls last year, the amount of fear that trickled into schools, some leadership were like, hey, easy place as siasa, let's
stay away from that.
Yeah, let's stay. And then in some schools, remember, everything rises and falls on leadership. The leader of the school determines the tone. If a young writer is told, you write whatever you want to write, equip these young boys and girls to do this play, do it. The leader created an opportunity for a writer to do a political play, na akaifanya because of the leadership. But some leaders went like, wait. Unaona, you see, fear achieved more without even the government changing the law.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what is currently going on in terms of this place that we are currently seeing in school.
Is it helping the situation? Because at the end of the day, men would want...
But remember, a new play came out this year.
Yes. Yes.
And thank God these plays are being picked at national level. But uko chini, people are like, fantastic. This is good. That Singapore thing, mumeua. But the more it's going up there, because these plays, according to old traditions, they are presented to the president. Now you can imagine the president sitting there watching countless jokes about Singapore. It's not good publicity for him. And because he understands how media works, he has to structure a way that those plays don't get to him.
But you see, Kroba, I look at it from a point where these children and these creatives, young creatives that we're looking at, live in this society called Kenya.
Yes.
All right? That when we talk about Singapore and the discourse that are happening, they sit in front of their screens and participate and consume all this discourse.
Yes.
Right? So we can't bury our heads under the sand and say that these things on Singapore and Kenyans having discussions with their parents on the tables during dinner, it is counterproductive when you try to silence that voice, because they are having it anyway.
There are two sides to that. When dissent happens from the government, you either embrace fear or you embrace courage. Menishika.
Yeah.
The outcome of both ends purely depends on the house you are brought up in. Menishika. So if you are brought up in a house where there's a lot of fear, then high chance you lean more on that side. But if you're brought up in a house where you're taught to be fearless,
Right.
then you become fearless. And some parents are actually scared because they might expect their child to be safe, but all of a sudden they have this courageous person out there on the streets. Out there dissenting against the government. And the positioning of the child, the way the child is brought up, plays a huge role in the way they respond to these matters. That is in my own assessment.
Well, the creative basically, in my opinion, they inject humor into the lived experiences we are going through as a society. And that is what we are meant to expound, even whether it is in school or in entertainment. Now, when we see the suppression of that expression of our lived experiences through humor, because it's satire, basically, it is tantamount to political interference, as you're saying. The president would not want the whole country presented by a group of kids coming to tell them what they feel about the state of our nation. That is political interference. But we are dealing with kids here who ought to learn, as you say, some values. Courage, speak truth to power. Because every now and then we'll be telling our kids, you need to be strong. You need to stand against that kid in the neighborhood who bullies you. But then the teacher bullies you, or the principal, or the president bullies you. The principle is the same into trying to shrink your thinking along a certain pattern of compliance that is not necessarily a reflection of your truth that you're living with. Now, take that into a curriculum. We transitioned from extra curriculum to co-curriculum based when you talk about this creativity. We are meant to help our kids to bring out the essence of their capabilities and talents. You have thrived in both academic and extracurricular, which is now co-curriculum. How do we marry the two today, professionally, as you said, within the law, to make sure that we have a balance?
Very good question. I like that question. Some things, when they're actually happening, we don't see the impact. And I'm going to use a good example. And a good example is when Eric Wainaina did Daima Mkenya. It was more of my love for the country. And he was not even taking positions. But the amount of flack this man got, because it was during the Moi era, it went completely the other side. 15 years later, he's performing at a state event on that same song. So when certain things unfold to a certain generation, and it gets a lot of blockade, it might not make sense there, but 10 years later it might translate. Remember, with the change of free education, do you know how many political books went into literature? There were so many. Aki, there were so many. Even us, I think when I was in high school, the closest of a political book we did was a Man of the People. Other than that, the other books were more storytelling. We only had one political book. If you come 10 years later, during the time when Kibaki was president, they were doing 4 political books. Yani the amount of rewiring of a whole generation has produced a group of teachers that are now teaching this generation. Our own kids may have Gen Alphas. So the teachers being taught were in school during the Moi Kibaki era, doing 4 political books. And so the academic impact, you see how it has trickled into the creative side of them. And now they are saying, this is what I was exposed to when I was in high school. I'm now a teacher. I'm teaching these kids, and I'm translating it creatively out like this. I think that is like a 15-year a decision that was made 20 years ago. We are feeling it now.
Definitely. I mean, and a lot goes back in history. I mean, a lot of people complain that, young men like Aseto don't want to marry, you know, and they blame Ngugi wa Thiong'o. There's that book he wrote, as a play actually, I'll marry when I want. what happened is now a lot of people are marrying when they want. But the book was very political. The play was very political. I think in 1977, he was even arrested for that. And he had to flee the country thereafter, which it goes back as much as things change. So do things remain the same. It's almost the same narrative where the powers that be really don't like criticism of through art. And I don't know whether the Kibaki era where they opened up, as much as there's always limitations how far you can go, but they sort of opened up that avenue. Unlike the Moi era, the Kenyatta era, where there was so much control in speech and how you express yourself artistically in relation to the politics of the day. Do you think it worked in favor for those of us who grew up in the 2000s?
When Kibaki became power, in terms of just the amount of creativity that went into bringing him into power. A song, the Unbogable song just changed for us. Menishika, in that 202 era. And 10 years later, another song was used to put Uhuru into power. In fact, another one 5 years later, ilikuwa tano tena. And just before even Ruto became president, Sauti Sol removed tano tena, saying, I'm not giving you another 5. Let me tell you, it's something is happening. For the first time, the music was used as a form of dissent. As a form of dissent. A simple meeting like the one, there was a time when Gachagua was deputy president. He called for a meeting for artists. Okay? Some musicians went, some didn't go. And it's okay. I remember Calligraph went. Innocently. Calligraph went. Innocently, he went for that meeting. The amount of heat this man went through, I don't think he's ever attended any other meeting like that. And he was innocent. You know, sometimes the government might want to hear what creatives have to say. Innocently. But a politician can politicize a meeting like that. He can capitalize on it. They're equipped to do these kind of things. But you're innocently going to say, oh, by the way, in our industry, we need this. In our industry, these are the challenges. You know, innocently, just go to present a position that you care about because you care about your own industry. But the public consumes it differently because a politician might capitalize on it.
You know, Karumba, it's interesting that we find ourselves tying these to the political class, right? Because it is through decisions, policies that are given by the political class that then comes to control narrative in these spaces. Why do I say that?
Yes.
I'll give an example of the United States of America, right? Most of individuals who grew up right now is when we're understanding the geopolitics of what America stands for and everything else. But as young people growing up, all we saw was great American films that made us know that America is the superpower it is today. It is through the creativity of the entertainment industry that made us know America for what it is. You know, Chuck Norris, you know, you talk about Air Force One and all those things. You know, you look at this great country from the eyes of creatives. You know?
Yes.
Now, we tie that now with where we are today. Our creatives today, even these children that we are banning this place, are here to tell the government, like, okay, fine, we live here, we see this, and we are coming in to tell you how we feel. We are here to equally communicate through our artistic ways, through our poems, through our solo verses, through our plays. And as a government, you shouldn't stop us from doing that. You should learn, you should pick from what it is you're saying so that you do better. Because if you do things right, rest assured that these children, the place that would be given to them would be those that praise the amazing things that you have done.
Yeah, if you do it well.
If you do it well. So trying to silence these voices is not really helping, because whether you like it or not, these children, I remember when I was in high school, we were having conversations on politics in the dormitories. We were having these conversations.
That's true. Yeah, when we were kids, we were having these talks. That's
having
true,
these talks, because you're coming from a home where these conversations are at 7 p.m. Dad is watching news, and we'd have that conversation with my uncle or with mom, and we would be part and parcel of these conversations. So how then would the government have it look at a different policy directive to ensure that these children are allowed to thrive in a society where we consume politics? 4 years we are campaigning. It is them who are giving us this info anyway.
That example of, and this is a very biased take because of how film works. For real.
Right.
When we watch a Black Ops movie that is American, to a very major extent, it's American propaganda. Because
thank you.
When the writer writes a movie about Black Ops and goes to the Ministry of Defense and says, we want to do a movie of our soldiers saving our people, the government is like,
yes.
What do you need? Because this is going to make us look good. Good. You write a movie of a good DCI officer investigating a good case. Go to DCI, see if the DCI can
stop you.
Can like equip you to tell that story to the highest level. You will not even get a foothold of them.
Yeah.
And some of us some creatives might want to tell good government stories. But my friend, you try and get government support to tell a good government story, nothing. The closest was when Alfred did that.
When he was.
And I don't know how he secured that, because the military really, one way or another, backed him. What do you need to shoot? What do you need to shoot? What do you need? And they came through for him because the government looked good out of a story like that. Now, and this is a biased take, the government has good stories to tell.
It does.
It has. But if they don't back the people who want to tell those stories, utaumia. The stories that remain to be told are the ones that are now against you. Umenishika. And even at points like this, where these kids are doing these stories, that is what is out there.
Yes.
That is what is out there. And the government has good stories to tell. If let me say something crazy. The government maybe has good stories to tell about how a family has gone out of poverty because of affordable housing. That's a good story. In their own way, it's a good story they can tell. But they don't have avenues of someone who can tell a story like that for them. Menishika. But there are countless stories about flooding of Nairobi that are out there. Menishika. And so a school will write us a story about Singapore, and it will get traction because of the way the narrative is currently going. And why is this a challenge? The government, when the government is trying to tell a story, do you know what they do? They come here at Standard Group, Nation Media, and they look for journalists, because journalists tell stories.
Yes.
Menishika. And they put them into their system. How many journalists do we know work for the government now? True. Menishika. There is a difference between hiring a journalist and a communication specialist. Those are two different people. One person is trained to report for the sake of the people, to be a voice of the people. A communication specialist is trained on how to communicate ideas. True. Communicate. So when you hire a journalist, the much they know is how to get you to write a story for them. A comm specialist will look for other ways that we can communicate this thing without even using journalism. Communicate. So when these two people are out there, when the government hires a journalist to do a communication specialist job, it becomes very different. My own sister, tulikuwa tunafanya kazi naye hapa. Mwanaisha, yeye ndio assistant spokesperson for the government. a journalist. Yani me, I feel me, and I love my sister, and I go like, that girl, the amount of work ahead of her is not easy.
Yeah.
Because anafa kufanya a communication specialist job. To be a government spokesperson, you need to be a communication specialist, narrative control, and they have so many stories to tell. But we umekuwa trained as a journalist, so unaona uko ill-equipped on that area. Either way, these are some of the challenges they face when it comes to communicating.
Echoes of incompetence. We keep talking about it day in, day out, because that's what they're saying. Communication 101 dictates the message you want to put out has to be well packaged to be consumed by the person you're intending to receive the message, not in your own preference.
True.
And that takes us now a different trajectory, perhaps, on the conversation. There's a conversation happening in the schools. It's a triangulation between the teachers, the kids, and the parents. We, the parents, have preference on what we'd want our kids to be. Just like we used to be told, you need to become a teacher or a doctor, get a decent course, stop these jokes of music and art. But today is different because now CBE. But still, parents have preferences. I would want them to take the path of the specific path. But the teachers know the kid more because they spend more time
there.
Then the kid comes home with activities, homework and all, and you need to fill forms to authorize or give consent. Now, teachers are saying parents are pushing kids a certain direction. That is not necessarily aligned with their capabilities. So, yet, you compare that, we keep borrowing examples from the West, where now the creative industry has created more millionaires, comparatively, than the academic area. People get scholarship nowadays because of their creative tendencies. So how do we as parents get out of the way of our kids in terms of compliance and getting them anchored in this CB?
I like that question. I have a very crazy response to that. This is a reality that most parents struggle with. You are actually the primary teacher. You are actually the primary teacher to your own children. It's just that you subcontract those duties to a school. But you are the primary teacher.
Correct.
And that's where most parents get it wrong. You think you are not the primary teacher. Me, I consider myself the most influential person in my children's life. I am their primary teacher. Things I can't teach, I subcontract a school to teach. Now, because they spend a lot of time there, those people might pick something about my kid that I haven't seen. If I partner with my teachers, well, they might tell me something I don't know. Wanaweza kama wakuambie, hey, you think your son is like this? We spent time with him. Your son is actually like this. You think your daughter is like this? My friend, this is what your daughter likes. We are partnering. But if I don't partner, that's why I'm telling you, those parents who don't, those teachers see things. If you pick that teacher might tell you something very interesting about your child that you've never even heard of because of the amount of time. And you and all of us here, when we sit down and we say, out of love, out of genuine love, you look at your child and you go, this is what I want my child to be. Out of love. You love your child, you plan. Even me, when I was a kid, my parents wanted me to be an accountant. They were like, my son is good at mathematics. Freddie, we want you to be an accountant.
Out of love.
In fact, I remember my father went out of his way to make sure my son is about to go to Strathmore. Strathmore produces the best accountants. Yani genuine love. But they never asked me what I cared for. I was very fortunate on my end that because they thought I was going through a season. And this is why I highly encourage parents. Mtoto akimaliza form 4, let the kid take a 1 year break before they go to university. Me, I told my kids, mkimaliza high school hivi, you are taking a year's break. If it is within my means, go see the world. Enda uone Uganda. Enda uone, because
Singapore.
we have friends. Let me tell you, we have friends living all over the world.
True.
I can call my friend nimwambie, can my daughter come and live with you for 2 weeks in New Zealand? Akuje tu aone. Do you know something will happen?
True.
I call another friend nimwambie, oh, can my son come live with you for 2 weeks in the UK? Aone tu. Something will happen.
Right.
Menishika. That 1 year is important because my life changed because of that 1 year. Because intake used to happen at the end of the year. At the end of the year. And I was asked, what do you want to do?
As you
And
wait.
as you wait, what do you want to do?
Right.
And I said, oh, there's a music production school over here. They're teaching music production and DJing. They thought this boy is going through a phase. Here we are, 20 years later. In fact, it's 21. I was 19. And I'm now 41. I'm in that industry because of that 1 year break. 1 year break. So for parents, highly employ you. Teachers are your partners. And because I'm in the education sector, and when things were changing into now CBE, and the ministry was coming to deal with higher learning institutions, where we offer diplomas and degrees, and they're telling us, this is the kind of student that will be coming your way. Start preparing for them in advance. Menishika. So we have the first grade 10 guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in 3 years, they will be entering our institutions. If we are not, because we know who is coming,
Right.
the average parent has no idea. The average parent anasikia pathways, anaenda, well,
STEM.
wewe utafanya STEM. Man, me, I know my kids.
Right.
If my kid tells me they want to be a doctor, even me, I'll be shocked. Let me be honest with you. If my kid tells me they want to be a lawyer, I'll be shocked. Kuku honest. I've made a living as a creative. Their late mother was a creative. They've grown up in a creative environment. If they choose an academic route, even me, it will shock me. But I'll be like, well, my child, if this is the path you have chosen, so be it. What do you want to be? Oh, you want to be that lawyer? I know some lawyers I can introduce you to.
Right.
But if my kid tells me, I want to be a DJ, I'll be like, game on.
There you
Let
go.
me show you how this thing is done.
Yeah.
It will excite me.
Yeah.
You want to be on radio? I worked at Radio Maisha. Let me show you how radio is done.
Right.
Yeah.
Umenishika. I will be very excited if they pursue any of these creative things I've done in my adult life.
Yeah.
And I will double down on it because I've done it. Umenishika.
Exactly.
And I know what to make you stand out. And what, there are things we have learned out of being creatives. That if our children ever decide to take this route, we know what to do. But because children might pursue a route we have no idea. And let's say my kid tells me she wants to be what? A researcher. I'd be like, well, I've never heard of that, but there are researchers out there. Wacha tuende Kemri, we look for a researcher. For real.
Yeah.
And we have lunch with a researcher. Na tuone what does it take. Aone kama it aligns with purpose. Umeniketi? Be flexible with your child, even if you do not understand. Because there are academic parents out there. Their kids tell them, me, I want to be a pencil artist. Unaonanga tu mtoto wako akichora unasema na usome.
Yep.
And your kid just wants to draw. Ama your kids want to be a photographer. Unashindanga ukimwambia na hiyo kamera uweke kando. Umeniketi? But if you are keen enough, because of the creative institution where I used to work, I dealt with parents like this all the time. The kid comes and says, I want to be a graphic designer. The mother has never drawn anything. The father has never drawn anything. they're like, why does this kid want to draw? Umenishika? They forget. Easy graphics ziko hapa chini. Easy graphics munaona. Some creative kid was supported na munaona easy lower thirds munaona.
Cedric Musumba.
Na ka graphic ka Spice. Because this is causing impact. It's causing impact in a country because some guy somewhere is drinking tea at a hotel, and the TV is muted, and they are seeing censored creativity. They are seeing all these things because of graphics.
So, DJ Karumba, there is now, in the space that you are, the academic space you are, there is an uptake of tThe, vocational training.
Oh, yes.
Which seems like, as you say, the more things change, the more they remain the same. Because originally the country was founded on vocational training.
Yes.
And it's an area we've been frowning at for long.
Yes.
It was meant to be that you go to a tThe because you did not make it to the main, mainstream campus. But now there is that shift. We even see guys who are meant to go to university for other courses choosing because of the creative sense they're having in them.
Yes.
Me, I want to be a plumber.
Yes.
And they're passionate about it, and carpenter, and all those other vocational trainings. But the parents still are struggling with that. But in terms of now transitioning into the market industry, because we have millions of graduates who are still hustling or tammacking, as we used to say. But people are realizing that if I tap into what I'm interested in, I can create a craft that will help me generate an income.
Do you know, the other day we had a very funny situation 2 years ago.
Right.
There is a company that came to Kenya and they were looking for grade 1 welders.
Grade 1. Wow.
Menishika, like top level welders that are certified, they couldn't find. When you go to Europe, you can find them grade 3, grade 2, and a grade 1 welder. Highly trained welders, people who build ships. Ama went to China. They were like, how come we can't find these people in this country? They were ready to pay premium money if you are certified grade 1 welder. I was with my kid telling them, my child.
In the world.
And a weld. Wait, mimi nilikuwa hapo naambia my child, I cannot believe this is a problem. That has high remuneration, because walikuwa ready kulipa $3,000 per month for a grade 1 welder. And that is according to African standards. Because ukienda majuu, you start making $6,000. Mimi, I was in grade 1 welder. Hawapatikani Kenya.
So there's
an
a
opportunity. Yes. There is an opportunity here. Me was telling my kid, go do woodwork. Si tumenunua viti kwa hii nyumba. Tumenunua. People will always need beds. People will always need seats. And it is good you've mentioned this vocational training because parents struggle. And this is very interesting. I meet parents my age group. See, I'm 41. Parents between, let's say, 55 and 40 who've grown up with me entertaining them. Me. And they struggle when their own kids say they want to be DJs.
Mungu asaidie.
Aki, they go like, and they know me. And they're like, Kroba.
Talk to him.
My child wants to be a DJ and I'm struggling. And I know you directly.
But Kroba, just to piggyback on the issue of vocational training and the disconnect that we're seeing. I interact with these Gen Alphas, at least in church. And I teach they
Sunday
call them crossroaders, 12, 13-year-olds. They're a different lot. These guys, their sense of justice and how they perceive life is a little bit different from how we were at that particular age.
Yes.
And they openly speak about the disconnect that they see in the home. And you say that, as a parent, your child, you are the first teacher. And there is a certain level of injustice that they experience at home. Or why is that one being treated differently? In fact, we had a class and we started talking about gender. Why is my brother, when he comes at 8, dad doesn't complain, but me, I have to be home at 6. You get me?
Yes.
So these guys are leaving it at a very young age, and they're getting this sense of justice, injustice. They're able to express it. They feel that like their parents are not listening to them. We'll have the adolescent talk later on, but as nurturing this creativity so that it's not censored in the household, because you're talking at a national level.
Yes.
But actually my dad, my mom censors me in my house. It starts right there. How do we create an environment, however uncomfortable for you as a parent, so that by the time you're reaching at a national level, you have indicated as a parent, you say, here, people are very open to express dissent.
Let me tell you, you guys are so biased here in media. Very few parents, I can confidently say, you guys have bounced into stories here you can't even talk about on radio. And they are confirmed. Mko hapa na editor wenyu, mnasema, hey, kuna hii story. But man, we can't cover this story. We can't. Umenishika? Because I've been in media, I know what that means like. But when that happens at home, it stifles the child.
True.
Yani hakuna kitu naweza ekelea kwa meza. Yani kuna vitu fulani naweza ekelea. But there are things I can't put on the table because of how I've seen my father or my mother react and not respond. When you get react and not respond. You see, when parents react, kids go like, well, okay, now I've seen. But there's a difference with responding. Responding is imekelewa kwa meza, and then they see your control in the way you are coming back. And they go like, oh, now I can place even more things on the table. And that plays a huge role in the way we will communicate in terms of allowing creativity to flourish at home for our own children. Purely the way a parent reacts or responds to the child will determine the amount of creativity.
In this instance, we'll be talking about, sorry to use that example, but the parent that is the government of Kenya. You get?
Yes.
Because their children are communicating in a certain way. But there's a way they're reacting, there's a way they're responding. And that is either making, because for a lot of children who want to get into this creative space, when the government tells them no, automatically there are those who are saying, where am I going with this? Because the government is stopping me from moving forward with my dream. I'll give you an example. Growing up, my dad used to, me and my sisters, to dance, and the best dancer would get, you'd get rewarded. But that reward, because everyone participated in that, you would have to share, you are the winner, right? But you have to share it with everybody else because everyone danced. And over the years, as we grew up, I was into liturgy in church. And my dad would club, got into high school. We used to dance, creatives, drama, music, got to do that, So looking at myself here today, it is because at a very young age, because my dad had seen my interest, he pushed me towards that and let me just do my thing, But here we are, as a government who is now a parent, is looking at their children doing all these things, communicating and doing best at what it is they do best. And they're saying, you cannot do that. You can only do this that we want you to do. Yet, these conversations, like you're saying, Gen Alphas, the Gen Zs that we have today, they're having these discussions. They have an opinion on where the country is at today. So then one asks the question, as parents, as stakeholders in all this, when the government is doubling down on what should be done and what shouldn't be done, how do we create synergy to ensure that everyone is winning? Because, again, United States, There are those who are pro-government, anti-government,
Yes.
but they're allowed to play in the open, and you get to choose and pick that which you want. You know, how do we create that synergy where everyone, whether you are pro or anti, get to work in this space?
You know, the government has a responsibility to be careful about misinformation. Just from a
Yes.
government point of
view.
They have to be careful about misinformation. I get it. Menishika. From that perspective, I get it. In fact, on our end, we are so lucky that our government can actually handle dissent. But it has a threshold of dissent that it can't take.
Yeah.
I mean, a small boy drew a caricature of President Ruto and was abducted.
Yeah.
Kuchora tu cartoon. Ile ilikuwa na ile
Yeah.
unakumbukwa?
Yeah.
Boy was abducted and then akaachiliwa without being charged. So you can see the government has given kind of room, but they're like telling us there are things we can't do. But that boy is still within the law. I mean, how many cartoons are drawn on this paper on a weekly basis? Kwa nini haina cartoon? You know, and they over-exaggerate. They over-exaggerate certain features. Yes. They over-exaggerate certain features of someone.
Right.
Umeelewa?
Right.
You know, hata nikikaa hapa nione msee.
You can tell who it is.
Yeah. They over-exaggerate. So we know this is Trump.
Right.
We know this is Trump. And wako hapa with the Iranian president.
Yes.
They have over-exaggerated these features. Umenishika? A small boy did the same na akako offended. What this guy is doing here, uni nani amechora hii? I can't read his name properly.
We have another.
But the same guy, yes,
the local
yes. Another one over here,
Yes.
and we can easily the same thing
Nice.
that boy did. Menishika. But because this guy is doing for a major publication like Standard Group, ako covered. But a small boy who has no protection is in pain. Menishika. And even me, I wondered, what pettiness is this? Hiyo kitu ilinisumbua.
Right.
For God's sake, you are an adult. You can take this. Me, there are things people can say on the internet about me,
Yeah.
and I need to be able to take it.
Yeah.
Mi nimeambiwa vitu ngumu, vitu mbaya, but I need to be adult enough to take it and be able to actually take dissent. Dissent. As long as you're not misinforming.
Disinforming.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a difference between misinforming and disinforming. Disinforming. I can't remember the difference.
What is
My
it,
professor is
actually?
watching. I'm so sorry.
No,
I'm so sorry.
disinformation
And he did this in class.
is a new concept there
Yeah,
trying
it's
to coin.
Yeah.
But
Yes. But that's umeniketi.
Right.
So a challenge like that for that young person and that young boy going through that, you can tell what other young people went through when they saw that young boy was abducted.
Stayed away.
Menishika. That is the state projecting fear to its citizenship, to the electorate. Na kuambia tutaki hii kitu. Menishika. But unfortunately, na kuambia that generation stood up with that boy because they doubled down.
Yep.
There were so many of them that came out. I'm sure the people in charge of these abductions were like, well, we can only do so much.
Right.
Umenishika. Even the young lady who was sending emails to the parliament.
Rose Jerry.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, so many went. And that is the sweetness of this era.
Yeah.
And that is the sweetness of our country.
And that's the sweetness of CBE.
Let me tell you, CBE, that is the sweetness. That whatever, this conversation you're having here can't happen in Tanzania, can't happen in Uganda, can't happen in Rwanda and Burundi. Literally, countries around our own. You don't know what an inspiration we are to our region. For real. I can come here and talk about a cartoon and I will leave and I'll go home. Kuna mtu hapa hawezi fanya kitu kama hiyo less than 500 kilometers from here.
True.
So, we rejoice with these freedoms, and for our children, they maximize on these freedoms. They maximize. Because one day, I was watching this Netflix documentary. Yeah, this American judge who died. And when all the judges went one side, she would come and already and say, I dissent, and this is why I dissent. And then she would read a statement. I keep forgetting the name of this judge. Alikuwa Supreme Court judge.
Okay.
Yes. And her dissents were very famous. When the ruling was against the public, because certain appointments in the country, like Supreme Court and High and Court of Appeal, are politically induced. Menishika.
Yep.
The other day we saw an interview of a judge who was being appointed, and I remember Justice what's Anitwaje, this lady Njoki akimuuliza, why did you not apply? From I am seeing, why did you not apply? The guy just couldn't say it publicly, but I knew. In other words, he knew that position is politically motivated. So the only one that is not politically motivated is this one, where you can genuinely get a high court job genuinely.
So then, as the duty bearers, the school, the home, the society, we need to create that environment.
We need to,
where we allow thriving to happen.
Dissent. Sana ni is when children, if I do a mistake and I come and I tell my kid, you know what, Toria, I'm so sorry I did this and this and this. Do you know that does something to my kid? Menishika. Me owning up a mistake I've done in front of my own kid. Parents who do mistakes and then apologize to their kids, they set them up. Aki, you set them up. Because their mind goes like, kumbe people in power can make mistakes. Menishika, people in power. As we know people, now that we are adults, we know people in power can make mistakes. If they own up, at a PSC we go like, well, if you have to deal with consequences, deal with them. But own up that you've done a bad work. Yes.
I mean, it is a conversation that is at the perfect timing, you know what I mean? Because the education of the country has changed, and these conversations are being held. To the government of Kenya, if there is anything you would get from this conversation, is allow dissent to be there, control what you can, but do not stop conversations from happening. DJ Karumba, Karumba Ngatia.
Thanks, man.
Sana for making
that was good. It's good to be here after many years.
Censored creativity and political messaging ban.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.